is Sanket Sangam, and the title of his speech is Navigating the Cultural Landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, Navigating the Cultural Landscape, Sanket Sangam.
How many of you believe that culture is not just based on origin of the country? Some of you. Culture, and it's true, culture is anything that group of people follow, which is different from the other groups. Hello, Toastmasters and honorable guests. Today, it gives me a great pleasure to talk about this topic because our club already celebrates great diversity. We have members from various cultures. At work, as part of my product development role, I coordinate with people from different skill sets, different departments, different languages, different countries, and even different leadership style groups. You can imagine it gets pretty complex and confusing sometimes. After some setbacks and some good experiences, the very first thing I learned was culture defines our values. Values define our behaviors. That made a lot of sense to me because for a given situation, different people react differently. One of the very popular framework to understand culture is Hofstede's framework that describes culture as 6 major dimensions. Today, I would like to share my knowledge on those 6 cultural dimensions to the club. The first one is power distance index. What this refers to is the distance between people with high power and people with low power. Typically, societies with high power index, members tend to expect more respect, more authority, and more hierarchy. They also tend to take less input from the others and expect their decisions to be accepted by everybody. Societies with low power index tend to have power distributed among all the members, and they also take more input from their members. I definitely grew up in a very high power distance society. When I had to pick my major in college, my parents said engineering or doctor. I did not know that kids actually could say no to their parents and do something else. I was naive at the time. Number 2 is individualism versus collectivism. Individualistic societies, what this refers to is the society's reaction towards integrating individuals into groups. Individualistic societies, they focus more on their individual needs. The success is measured based on solely the individual effort or their immediate family effort. You'll see more of me there. In collective societies, they focus more on relationships and also loyalty. I watched a documentary about food habits around the world. The interesting difference between US and Europe is in Europe, lunch breaks are considered a social event. They make sure they have longer lunch breaks. They have lunch with their friends or co-workers to bond and build relationships. In US, we focus more on productivity. We tend to take shorter lunch breaks and also we tend to eat on our own most times. Third is masculinity versus femininity. This refers to the society's expectations around the traditional masculine and feminine roles. Masculine society expects more of authority and strength, assertiveness, and competition. And feminine society focuses more on cooperation and nurturing and value quality of life. My parents, especially my dad, when he saw my parenting style for my daughter, he said, I didn't know that men can be very nurturing. I had to tell him that it's not dad's job or mom's job, it's parents' job. And I hope he understood it, I'm not sure. The next is Uncertainty Avoidance Index. This refers to the society's tolerance towards uncertainty or ambiguity. The societies with very high avoidance index, they tend to have very strict rules and regulations just to avoid any risks in life. And the societies with low uncertainty, they are more open to changes, and also they're open to more unstandard or unstructured situations. I definitely come from very high uncertainty because I didn't take a lot of risks growing up, but after a while I realized that if I want to have the life that I want to lead and not the life that others expect to be the safe style, I had to make some big decisions which were risky, but I'm glad I did that. The next is long-term versus short-term orientation. It refers to the society's delay of gratification of either materialistic or social or emotional needs of the members. Long-term societies usually focus more on persistence and perseverance and savings and thrift and long-term results. Short-term, they focus more on short-term and quick results. I was told that I make decisions very slowly, so I belong to long-term, but not because I am procrastinating. I do it because I think for the long-term implications of it. Last but not the least is indulgence and resistance. This is the society's acceptance of one's desires to be satisfied. Restraint societies usually control their urges, their desires, so that they don't lose focus or lose track of their life. Indulgence, they get into more self-gratification and high levels of bon vivre, which means joy of life. I definitely had to move from restraint to indulgence. I realized that for my well-being and mental and physical health, I had to do that. Finally, I would like to say that these dimensions really helped me to have a very effective communication and meaningful relationships. Thank you.